Folks, I'll be sharing my techniques and this technology at these upcoming spaces. Sure hope to meet you there. Good morning, everyone. Today is October the 10th. It is a Wednesday, and this is the Futures in 5, taking a look at the ES here using our Motive Wave platform. We can see a breakdown action occurring. The loss of this 2881 area is troubling, and so what we want to see here at this pivot is the ability to bounce and recover. So the question is, do you buy the dip here? Or do you anticipate that what's happening is that there is a failed bounce on the horizon? My suspicion is there's a failed bounce on the horizon, and so that implies that if you take the short here, you're going to open up risk in your space that you don't need to, and so I suspect letting it do that. Now, this action here is telling me once it comes into this area, I have a bounce zone, and that really is going to stay the same until we bounce and we cannot recapture highs one more time. And that's exactly what we've been doing. Every time we've come into the bounce, it's been a lower high. So we know that we've got a fade on the horizon. The fade could be big, and really, since we lost this big area at 29.14, the chart is telling us, hey, we're very likely to test lower levels, and that really is going to be very exciting to the people that have hedged for all this time. So let's get to the next step. We're taking a look at the same sort of thing. It's a pressure event. This is breaking down. What should happen here? It's a bounce at the first pass. We're going to see that. Now, you could short there automatically, and as long as you manage yourself, you'll be able to get out properly in the space. We've got too much sideways action for us to have trending motion here. So we're going to see more whipsaw, big down motion, up motion, up motion, big down motion. That's really what we're going to see until this chart settles out. So my thought is failed bounces, better to get the short. And if you want to try and pick the bottom, you can do that, but a lot of risk, so watch your size. This breakdown, I asked Hedgeye about this several days ago, and they said, hey, you know what, this is rotation, and I buy that. I do buy that quite significantly. They're moving into the indices that are performing better, and certainly, I mean, that's a free fall right there, right? And so it broke down from this area, and we've had short action from here. Now coming into this area, what should we do? We should bounce at the first pass. It's how well that bounce performs that's going to give us the space that we are looking for. All right, taking a look at the YM, exactly the same story, although not trending like the RTY. We are coming in. This looks much more like the ES. Coming in and testing these lower edges of support. We should find buyers here at these edges. Could our stops be a little bit wider? Yeah, so how about waiting for it? Exercise patience is the most difficult thing for us to do as traders. Watch the bounce. Everybody's buying here. You buy here. Watch your risk. As long as you get your risk managed, you're going to have yourself a good trade. We have the EIA tomorrow, the API, this afternoon after the close. What are we looking at? We got a mixed bag here, essentially. I've got this alert here that triggered literally every single time we come into this area. It's a short. Problem is, now we're holding this, 74.49. As long as we stay here, we're not going to head lower. And you might go, thanks, Captain Obvious. But what that does tell us is pulling back into this space. If it loses the edge, you can't automatically assume it is going to fade, because take a look at that bounce. You just start stair-stepping it into the lower edges of support. The levee's going to break someplace, just don't know where. And with this hurricane in the Gulf, I don't know, maybe these numbers are baked in. Maybe that means things are going to rise as soon as it passes. I have no idea. What I do know is I'm range bound here. And so if I make decisions while I'm in the range bound space, I must pay attention to what my range bound values are, or I'm just going to be a sitting duck. You know, and those, if you know, sitting ducks usually waiting to get shot. So, sorry, I have a child going duck hunting today, and that just came to me. Yeah, and so you just really want to pay attention to that and watch for the breaks in that space. Last thing we're going to take a look at is gold, and I just realized I gave you 6 futures in 5 minutes, and so here we are looking at the breakdown here. You know what? Steep, look at this, mixed motion, so deep pullbacks, going to be buy zones. As it sits, we're in a sideways pocket. Essentially, nothing has changed here in the space. I say the bounces are good sell zones simply because we're sitting underneath an adaptive moving average that is sloping downward. So that's going to give me my best bet, right? Any kind of upside triggers I see are only going to take me into a natural resistance zone, and that is sitting right at about 1194 and some change. All right, that concludes the futures in 5.